was late December when I took my dog out for a walk, and I opened the door. I immediately got that feeling that something wasn't right. You know, my gut telling me something is wrong. And it's a long, long path, just surrounded by meadows and forest, so it's pretty secluded. You know, I had the urge to just turn around every time and look behind me. I just brush it off as me being paranoid. I think I just walked 20 or 30 minutes. I literally ran back home. And I was watching my favorite TV show. My dog was just sleeping on his basket, snoring in peace. So everything was fine. Everything was quiet. We have one or two of these small solar lights in our garden. And, you know, suddenly I heard a sound behind me, and my dog was standing. You know, he just jumped from his sleep, and he just stared outside of the window. He just pressed his nose against the glass, and he was staring right out into the darkness, and he just didn't move. And I noticed that he started to raise his fur, and he started to growl, and he started to bark, and it was close to, I think it was close to 12 or 11 p.m., so I was not in any mood for any ruckus, and I was like, oh, shut up, you're being stupid, just lay down, it's a deer, it's nothing, shut up. But he did not shut up, and I was even more concerned. That was the moment it just crossed my mind. Oh no, there's someone out there, and I am alone inside this house. I looked out of the window, and I saw something moving in the dark. It just moved outside of the radius that the light illuminated. I could see something moving, but I couldn't see what. And I thought, it's huge. That was the first thing I noticed. I couldn't see what it was. I didn't know what it was, but I could see that it was huge. I saw broad shoulders, and I could see the upper torso. What is that? And then it moved entirely into the light. And that thing was out of anything possible. And the only thing I could think at that moment was werewolf. The head just grazed the roof of my terrace. The body resembled human, and it took a step towards the glass. That was probably the moment I started to freak out. And that thing stood in front of my terrace door. Just a normal glass door separating me from a thing. And it just looked at me. And I was looking at it. I just got to my knees next to my dog, and I thought, this is it. I'm going to die. And I was just screaming and yelling. But that thing did not even flinch at that. It was just staring at me with its eyes fixated on me. And it lifted his hand, and with one claw, that sound of the claw against the window, and very, very, very big and very sharp, and it just tapped against the window. You know, such a movement is just, that's human. I do not know any animal who would tap against a window with one claw. I had the feeling, you know, when we locked eyes, I just had the feeling that it was like luring me in. That I wanted to put my hand against the glass just to get closer, and I was, at the same time, for me it was almost hypnotic. And, you know, it was still tapping as if to tell me, you stupid girl, It almost had something mocking the way it did, and that was so shocking for me. I had the feeling that it was mocking, as it was saying, I am the predator, and you the prey, and you should know your place, and I could get you any time I wanted you. The next thing I see is that it just turned, it just gave me one last look, and he just turned to his side, and it just left the claw on my window, and it walked down the side of the house and dragged the claw along the glass. And it was such a horrible feeling. And it moved slowly out of the light. But just before it completely melted back into the darkness of the night, it just stopped and looked over its shoulder just like a human would. And it gave me one last long stare. I had this feeling that it, was thinking like, I'll come back for you. And then it turned around and just vanished into the darkness.